Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, not too bad. From
Good
Bonnie,
holiday so
Scotland.
far?
Yeah, except for we were just saying like how cold it is up here. And so we're recording this, what is it, like 34 where you are today?
33, I think. So yeah, I was
Yeah,
saying
this
how
is
hot it
just,
is. You were saying how cold it is.
and I've even got a little jumper to record this. Like gone out with, like, I haven't packed the right stuff because obviously when we were packing, we knew the temperature would be a bit less, but it's absolutely freezing, or it feels freezing, and it's just like I feel really jealous because obviously everyone's being like,
I
"Oh
just can't
God, it's
imagine.
unbearable! It's unbearable heat," and I'm like, "It's actually been
Yeah,
raining and stuff. It's really weird."
yeah, that
But
is
other than
weird.
that,
That is weird.
having a nice time.
Oh, that's great. So you're a bit blurry for me. We're not sure how the internet is. The sound's a bit weird between us, but we're just going to try and do
Yeah.
our best. But it might
So
look
we
a
don't know
little
how this is coming
disjointed
out.
because
So there might be a bit of a lag with us talking over each other. But we're like, we need to record
yeah,
this one. We want something to go out. So just bear with if it's a bit.
yeah,
Hopefully it'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. Normally they come out okay, don't they? We have quite a few issues, and
I'll just
they're
edit
okay.
it within an inch of its life.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So today we were going to do sort of we'll be on part two of the ayahuasca sort of ceremony. So last week we spoke about the preparation, and then now we're going to do week by week of you've had several experiences, and then I don't know, week 5 will be my experience, I think, something like that. So we're just going to start
Yeah.
with the first time that you ever went, what you experienced, and just your story and your take on it, really.
Yes. So
So yeah.
okay, so like the
Wait.
first time, as I said in the I actually did get myself a little glass of wine because it's like it's quite the story. Mm. Yeah, the spirits haven't actually told me to stop boozing yet. So I'm like, well, I'm on holiday, and until I get that message,
Yeah.
we can have a glass of wine. Yeah, so the first one I did, as I said in the preparation podcast we did before, I went by myself. So I'd been getting the calling for years to do it. And then when I eventually found the place I went to do it at, it was literally like I had to jump on the diet, which again we explained in the previous podcast, and then go. So I just went by myself, and I feel really grateful for that first time because it was actually, there was only 4 people. It was me and 3 others, and which was perfect. And actually the place we go, they only do a maximum of 10 people. I think maybe once there was like 11, but I don't think they really do more than that. Like some places you can go, say you go to the Amazon, there's places that have like 100 people in like, huge rooms, which I just can't get my head around. So
No.
yeah, I'm grateful that this place does small groups. And the first time there was, only 4 of us, and it was everybody's first time doing it.
Oh
And everyone
wow.
had none of us knew each other. So it just felt really perfect. But I was very nervous as like I've been nervous for everyone really, but like now at least I know kind of what's coming, and I have
To expect.
more.
Yeah.
But that first time I was so nervous. I think the main facilitator guy was like, welcome, and I was like, yeah, you too, yeah, and I was like walking in with my pillow just on earth, when you're just like over talking and just
Yeah.
but yeah, it was amazing. Should I talk about like what the process, or we kind of talked about that before in the last one, didn't we? That you have your
Yeah.
bed and you kind of
Yeah. I
pick which
think it'd
bed
be
you
good for
want.
us to talk about the kind of when you get there, what happens before you actually. It'd be good for us to maybe
Oh
talk
yeah.
about that on the one that we did together, because we've got different angles, if you see what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, so I'll just talk about my experience from basically, drinking the ayahuasca. So, but the setting was perfect. The place is beautiful. The people are amazing. And just my first time going by myself, I was very grateful that it was everyone's first time. They were all really lovely. And so, drink the ayahuasca, and then it was about half an hour. So for the first half an hour, they just have silence. Before the main, I keep saying facilitator, what's the word he calls himself? Not a shaman, but curandero, is it? Which means, I think it's like medicine.
I don't know.
Yeah, curandero.
Right. Okay.
Before he starts singing the Icaros, so like there's Icaros throughout that are being sung, which helps apparently guide the spirits and kind of helps the medicine start working. They have half an hour silence at the beginning, and that bit I absolutely hated because you take it, but
Yeah.
it's just so yeah, I mean the first time wasn't so bad because you knock it back and you're like, oh, but it does kind of like repeat on you. So then in that complete silence, like you sit, put your eye mask on, so I'm kind of just like sat like I am now, and yeah, but then you start to hear, so you've got your kind of sick bucket at the end, but then you can kind of hear it's almost like repeating on everyone, and then that was making me feel more sick, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
god, and you're just sat there
All
kind of
sorts
waiting for something
burping,
to
like,
happen.
ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like the anticipation.
because you just think, especially the first time, you're like, what is about to happen?
Mm.
But for me, so after about half an hour, within that first half an hour, I started to slowly see some visuals. But again, you're kind of sat, so you've got an eye mask on, so it's kind of like behind the eye mask. I started to see some kind of like, just, it's almost like in the black that the can't really describe it, but it almost gets like wispy, like movement. And then the first thing that happened to me was this giant toucan. It's like image of a toucan came really, really close into my vision, but it was like perfect. I describe it as like I could see everything.
Was
And
it
then there was like,
colourful or still dark at this time? Was the
yeah,
toucan
colourful.
right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So I saw the colours, and then that kind of faded. And then there was like a toucan, sorry, not a toucan, like a jaguar, or, well, actually, when I first did it, I was like, oh, I thought it was like a leopard or something. Yeah, I guess, but yeah, not a jaguar. It wasn't spotty. It was kind of just, yeah, I think like some kind of jaguar. Now thinking about it with like the jungle animals, but again, it was like just so clear, and I was like, oh god, you're trying to stay calm because you're like, where is this going? And then everything kind of went black. My vision went black. So this is kind of the scary bit. But I had read before I went in that I read this like account of this guy that said, have to, like we've said in a previous one, you have to let go and surrender and all of that kind of thing. But it doesn't really make sense to you there. But also I saw this guy's account that said he had like, it was like he saw a rainforest and like these monkeys almost like blinking at him and kind of almost saying, come in. But he was like, oh no, I didn't want to go in. But he said, looking back, he thinks that was like an invite into it. And I'd read quite a few people saying that you almost have to give permission, or, you know, you're kind of invited to go in. Anyway, so that was in the back of my mind when I saw it was like all black and it was like a rock, but it's almost, obviously you're not squinting because you've not got your eyes open, internal vision, I can't really describe it. It was like, is that a mermaid on a rock? And it was all black. And it was just like this long-haired mermaid, and it was almost like, yeah, and then I could make her out, but kind of a bit menacing.
A fairy mermaid or like a beautiful mermaid?
Oh, it was quite, because it was all in black and she had this long hair. It wasn't a beautiful mermaid, but I mean, she's beautiful. It was like, oh, it was, my heart was going a million miles an hour. And then all of a sudden she was kind of like, come with me. And there was like this swirling vortex, like almost like a black hole. And she kind of came towards me and then swam down into the hole. But as she went down, her turned into all these long black tentacles. Like it sounds absolutely awful.
Oh my gosh.
It was, but there was this inner knowing in me that I'm like, I need to go in the vortex. So she disappears through the vortex and there's just like this spinning black, and I just had this knowing, and then remembering what I'd heard that from, you know, that thing I read, being like, oh, I think this is it. This is the like leap of faith, basically.
Yeah. So then did you go in the vortex?
I went in the vortex.
How did you, I remember asking you these questions when you were telling me about it, but how did you, like, did you physically watch yourself walk? Are you like almost like a little computer character?
No, it's almost like if you're floating.
Yeah.
I was like, it's to say I was sat meditating like this.
Yeah.
Eye mask on. It's all in your internal vision. And it's almost like once I said, right, I'm going into after this tentacle lady, it's almost like I floated forward and dropped in.
Yeah.
So it's like all in your mind, but it was me, but it's not my physical me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My physical body's there meditating, but this is all me that's not the physical me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so then I dropped in, and then with that, it was like I was in. and it was like almost like a bubble round me that was like, I don't know, like I'd arrived in this other realm or whatever. And it was like quite overwhelming. And like straight away, I had this, like suddenly I knew that there was someone next to me, and I knew that they were male, but I never saw them. So what
Was
I
it
now
dark
believe,
still? Was it all sort of moody and scary, or is it?
at that point, I mean, it did go on that I saw the most intense, like beautiful, geometric patterns and stuff. But at this point, it was still quite dark, and he was there, but it wasn't like a scary feeling. I wasn't scared. I wasn't
Yeah.
scared. I was just kind of just like, I remember hearing my heart, like feeling my heart, but being detached from my body. And so then there's this, now I do believe it's like a spirit guide, and I do believe in that now because it's literally the experiences I've had. I can't deny that. But he wasn't scary, and he said, "Oh, hi, Lauren." And again, it's like then I could communicate back with him. We were communicating with each other, but I'm not speaking with my mouth. It was just this kind of inner telepathy is kind of the way. Yeah. So like when you think in your mind and you think, when you're kind of talking to yourself in your mind, it was that. But they're communicating with you like that. And then I was communicating back. And so he was like, "Hi, so this is how it works here." And it was like quite, like not formal, but it's kind of like talking me through it. And I'm obviously like, like sat there, freaking out a bit. He was like, we were going to move through, he said that it was like levels, and to move on to the next level, it was almost like teachings. To move on to the next level, I had to show fully that I understood. And then he was kind of like, "Do you understand?" So I had to keep being like, yeah. I'm like, but I'm like chatting back, and he's like, whoa, like kind of had to keep telling me to, just listen to what he was saying. But as he's talking, he was saying, you need to understand the levels, and you'll need to purge in some way. And with that, it was like they were teaching me. He was there, and I could sense there was some other people or beings or whatever just out in front of me. Again, didn't see them, but this is what I think I said in the previous one. I normally get, it feels like they're on a job, and he was like leading. He was like the one. He's like, right, like we do if we've got a job, or anyone, you'd be like, right, I'm going to lead this, to say like a sales pitch or something, and then it's planned. That's how it felt. It felt like there was others out there, but they were kind of communicating. And so as he said, "Oh, you're going to have to purge," and I then was getting visions in front of me of like mouths. It was almost like, not like actually physically touching me, but it almost did feel like someone touched my chin, as if to be like, and I was like, yeah, no, I understand. And I had to kind of say that I understood that you have to be sick or cry or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of all explained to me. And even it's just weird how I've had this with everyone as well. It's like the symbolism of things. So it shows you. So I saw like this giant mouth, but then years ago, I was learning Mandarin, and it showed me like the symbol for mouth, like the square, like things like that. It was like lots of just kind of almost like trying to make you understand through what you would understand. And then, so once I'd accepted all of that, it was like the first lesson. And all of a sudden, so when you're in this as well, I wasn't really aware of what everyone else is doing. But the guy on the bed to my right, all of a sudden, it was like my bubble that I was in. The first lesson is like, don't you understand we're all one? And it just like almost like swallowed up. It suddenly made like a double bubble. And it was like our consciousness was together, and it was showing me that we're all one. And that made total sense at the time. And it was telling me that everything we put into our body, like food and everything we think, all creates our like frequency. And it was almost showing me, I didn't really get to the full bottom of it, but it was kind of, I now kind of believe in this collective consciousness thing, because it was showing like everything going up, like it was almost like every thought we have, but that we were all one. So like, yeah, can't really fully explain that, but it was very clear that like everything we eat, everything we take in through media, whatever, and also everything we speak, every thought we have, it's just all connected. But it was like with this guy next to me, and it was at that point I was just like so overwhelmed. I was like, "What are you?" 'Cause I was like talking to whoever it was communicating with me next to me, and I was like, "Who are you? Are you God?" Because I've never been religious, but this was like such an overwhelming experience. And like you hear people talking about spirit guides and these kind of things, but I don't really know what I believed, but this was just so in your face, I've got a spirit. Well, I didn't know what at the time what he was. So I was like, are you God? What is this? Is this God? And then like with that, the like double bubble that I was in with this guy next to me, it kind of almost like swung round and hit me so, like this feeling hit me so hard in the chest. And it was like, no. And it was like, don't you understand? You are God, but not in a like me personally. It was like God is within us all, but it was
Everyone.
part of this one
Right.
message that we are all one. And it was like, this is you. And it kept saying, so all the visions that I was seeing, and that's when I started seeing all the geometric patterns. And I still don't fully understand it because I can't wrap my head around it, but it was like, this is you, can't you see? And it kept saying to me, don't you understand? This is you. And I was like, no, I don't bloody understand. No. I don't, because again, I went into all of this like as a therapy thing. I was not expecting the spiritual stuff to come out of it, probably ignorantly, because it is, you know, they say it's like a bridge to the spirit realm, but I was just not expecting it, not going into it, not a religious person. So I just did not know, and still I'm trying to work it out, but it was like, this is you. We're all one and God is within us. And you hear people saying that, don't you? Like God is within you. And that's what I was told. So I don't know. And I still don't really know what to make of that. But anyway, that was that lesson. And it was like, do you understand? And I was like, yeah. So then it was like, right, we must purge. So I was like sick that lesson. Then hang on, I have written everything down so I don't miss anything. And there was so many little messages as well. So I probably won't cover everything. But so we are all one, the collective consciousness. Then the music, again, it almost feels like you've got headphones on. I don't know if you felt like that. It's like the music in the room. It wasn't like you're listening with your normal ears is the only way I can describe it. It felt like the music was in my bubble and it was just through me. And, but that started getting louder and louder and louder. To the point it was overwhelming. It had like these cymbals and I was like holding my ears. And then my little mate was like, don't you think this is getting too much, isn't it? It's like too overwhelming. And I was like, yeah. I was like, God, why is it getting so loud? And it feels like they're turning the music up in the room, but they're not.
No.
Obviously, it's to make a point. And I was like, yeah, no, it's too loud. It's too loud. And he was like, yeah, it is too loud. The wording sometimes is what throws me off because I've thought this whole time, like, oh, is this just me? I'm talking to myself. This is my self-conscious. But it's things like this so it said to me, yeah, it is too loud, as is the internal chatter of the human. And I've had that quite a few times where it's like referred to me as like, oh, that's just a human thing.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, really bizarre. But it was like, as is the internal chatter of the human is too loud, especially with you, Lauren. And then it basically showed me how badly I speak to myself. And it was showing like my internal mind and how I always speak badly about myself and how I always have. So it was so overwhelming. But I was like chatting back, being like, yeah, well, I can't even remember what I was saying, but I was almost kind of like trying to downplay it and blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, whoa, like stop. Basically, it was quite funny and was like, stop yapping on. Don't you want this to end? And I was like, yeah, no, it's too much. And he was like, well, you need to understand that lesson. You're not going to do that again. You're not going to put yourself down anymore. You're not going to. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. And then with that, I was so sick and I was like throwing up basically all the times that I'd spoken badly about myself. I was like,
sorry, can I ask you something? Was it showing you like memories or was it just giving you examples?
It was just like this like internal, it was like an internal feeling. Yeah.
Right.
So it was like feelings and kind of images, but it was just like this just knowing of like, oh my God, yeah. And actually I was saying I was being sick there. I wasn't. I kept trying to be sick constantly at this point. I'd already been sick the beginning and I was like, I can't be sick. And that's when there was like more of them again. And I was like, is there another way? And then this other spirit guide or whoever was like, well, we're not going to be able to move on unless she's sick. That's what it felt like a job. And then they were like, okay, there is another way. And it was almost like a click. And then I just started bawling my eyes out. And that was me purging that part.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you don't know how loved you are. And it just felt like this, like someone, it was like from here, like something almost like put this arm around me. And I was like hugged and it was just the most intense feeling. It was like, you are so loved. You need to love yourself. And it was just this feeling like I've never had, not in this world. Like it was just unbelievable. And I was just sobbing. It was like so unbelievably overwhelming. And yeah, I really didn't want that to end. And then I was kind of like bobbing around getting different messages, like it said, "Oh, time's an illusion, by the way." Yeah, that is right. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. And it was almost like I'm just kind of like bobbing. So I was just like floating around this world that I've been told is me. And that's when, like I said in the last one, that I was told, "Oh, you're going to need to go for a wee now. Like, we can't keep." And I was like, no, it's fine. Let's get into the next one. Let's go to the next level.
Yeah.
But yeah, they couldn't do that until I'd
had a wee.
Been for a wee. And then that's when, yeah, as I said in the previous one, they were like, "You'll be fine." And I'm like, kind of like the healer lady helped me, and I came back and I kind of like muscled over and put my eye mask on, and they were like, "Okay." And then you're on to the next thing, which was just unbelievable. And then I had lots of messaging around. So yeah, the music. Yeah. So then I had a lot of messaging about forgiveness, about the little things, forgive people. It was again talking about being human. And it was like, of course, everyone's going to make mistakes. You have to forgive. It was just all about forgiving the little things. And it was like that, like this. It was before it happened. I was like, what? And then the main guy bumped into my airbed and was like, "Oh, sorry about that." And I was like, oh, but they told me that just before he did it. Yeah.
So,
And it was like, because obviously that kind of knocked me out of what they were saying, because it kind of pulls you out of it for a second. But then but that was the whole lesson. That was the whole
they
point.
said accident happened like this, and then he knocked
and then it happened. And I've had that a few times where it's just like, where it's almost told me to take my eye mask off. And within that same ceremony, one time, I want to say I'm saying this right, Curandero. Yeah. But the main guy was on his phone, but it kind of made me take my eye mask off to look. And it's almost like he's obviously picking music and running it, but it was almost showing me like, well, if you were being really cynical and you weren't in, to say it wasn't working on you, you'd be looking at him being like, "Oh, this guy just on his phone," or,
yeah.
But it was like, it's just, not everyone's perfect all the time. Don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but there was another thing where they were, and I'm just laughing because they were rustling through trying to find something in some drawers, but it was making quite a lot of noise. And I was like looking, but it was all part of this lesson that that's actually quite funny. Just like forgive all of that, forgive all those little things.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then is this where it takes a bit of so then the guy next to me again, whose consciousness I'd had swallowed up, he starts talking, just like, but what he was saying was so lovely. It was so beautiful what he was saying. It was obviously in his experience, but he was kind of a little bit on repeat. But I couldn't work out what was going on, because I was like, what is it? Because the sound is all distorted in the realm you're in. So I'm kind of like got my eye mask up. I'm kind of half in my experience. And I'm looking at him being like, "Are you talking?" I couldn't work it out. But then it was almost like I put my eye mask back on, and honestly, the patterns, I can't tell you. Well, I've actually remembered something I haven't written down. I'm going to go to that next. But all the patterns were so beautiful. I can't even describe it. Like, it was just absolutely amazing. And then all of a sudden, it's like old-fashioned stereo player, like the ones with that look like a flower.
Yeah.
With the neck, like that. I don't know what they're called. They've got the little neck, and it was, gramophone.
I think it might
be. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teased that kind of came into view with all these beautiful colours, and then it had the music, but then every word he was saying when he was kind of reciting all this beautiful stuff about, I won't go to what he was saying, but just like, the meaning of life and all of this, but his words were then coming out of this music player, but in perfect timing with the music, or what seemed like perfect timing. So it all came in, and it was almost like the words were like swirling around at the same time. And I was like, yeah, this guy's right. Yeah, what he said. I was just like totally in it. It was at that point I was like, can I meet Mother Ayahuasca? Because you hear about people that actually meet her spirit, and it's like this, the ayahuasca is the spirit of, like it's a female spirit. And I was like, I want to meet her. And people say that they kind of have visions of this like grandmother figure. Anyway, I was basically laughed at a bit by this spirit guides I had. They were like, yeah, let's calm down, shall we? This is your first one.
Oh my goodness.
Not yet. But then I was like taken up to my left hand side, which is interesting because he was male, and it's the same with every ceremony I've had. Like any male spirits or anything I'm speaking to, they're on the right. And then I was taken up to the left, and it was almost like I was let into this kind of chamber or something. And the music it sounded like angels were singing. And it was almost like she was above looking down. And I was like, oh, this is you. It was like her letting me into something. And it was like this beautiful symphony. And I was literally bawling my eyes out at the beauty of it. It was just, can't even describe it. Absolutely amazing. But then it takes a turn for the worst. Hold on. As if you've listened to now, you're probably thinking, oh, that sounds all right. I could do that.
Okay, I could do that.
So this time doesn't exist when you're in there, but I suppose, I don't know when it gets to its peak, maybe after 2 hours. So this has probably been a process of about 2 hours or something ish. Halfway through, it really suddenly started becoming really overwhelming for me. Like, I just suddenly thought, hang on a minute. It was like I'd been on this lovely process, and then all of a sudden it was like, right, let's get into it. And it was just like top strength, like peak of it. And I just suddenly thought, what have I done? What am I doing? Like, I just couldn't. And then my ego brain was just like going crazy. Panic, full blown panic is the only way I can describe it. I thought I was dying. I thought, that's it. I'm a goner. Writhing around. I thought I was like having a heart attack. I thought I was like, this is it. You know, you hear these horror stories, you hear these things happening.
Was that just a feeling? Was that just a feeling that you had? It wasn't visual. You couldn't see anything then. It was just this like feeling that you felt awful.
At this point, yeah, it was just pure dread. And then this part is all very blurry because it's just like one thing after another, but it was just pure dread. And I then got into quite a scary loop. And like they say, you can get into like this thought loop where almost like I would sit up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be sick. And I kept trying to take my eye mask off, which I think made it worse, because they say at that point you need to let go. And basically the whole lesson around this bit was that I'm like resisting it, which I was in complete battle with it. Like, no, right, I'm just gonna hang on until this ends.
Yeah.
This is just way too strong. I was like, everyone else is obviously having this great experience that I've just had, and now this has all gone wrong for me. And I was in this loop. So I'd like sit up, try and be sick, or I was being sick. And then it's almost like I obviously laid back down, but forgotten that. And then I would sit back up again, and the whole room was like orange. I had my eye mask off. I didn't know if my eyes were open or closed.
Yeah.
Panic. I was like, I've lost reality. I've lost it. Completely lost it compared to everyone else. But I just kept sitting up, trying to be sick, laying down, kept sitting up. And I was just like, completely in this spiral. Then I was I remember like opening my eyes and the whole room turned black and white, totally lost colour vision, but it was so strong. And then the main guide obviously crouched down next to me because he's like, you're going through something. Yeah. But I remember just looking at him and being like, I don't know what am I doing? I was just like, just completely lost reality basically. And it was just pure panic. But then the lesson starts to come of like, it's because I'm holding on. But then I just still couldn't. I still thought I was dying or something. And I just remember the healer lady came over and she was amazing. So I'm looking at her thinking like, you need to call an ambulance. Why are they not? This is a full blown emergency. In my mind, this is what's going on. I'm dying. And they are being so relaxed. She's like over me, you know. And I was like, no, this is what I need. I need medical attention. And I'm going to have to tell my whole family that I've had this emergency. And then I said to her, the voice in me said, ask her, is this normal? So I was honestly gripped onto this woman. I was looking at my body. I'm having a panic attack. I think my body was, but you're elsewhere. And I was like, is this normal? Because I'm looking at her. She's totally calm as a cucumber. And she just smirked at me and was like, you're resisting, aren't you? And I was like, might be. Oh, yeah. And then I just kind of sat up and breathed. And it was like, wow. So it was like that was the lesson. And after that, it's like, oh, yeah. It's like I was being taught to get rid of that control. There's a lot of messaging around. As soon as I'd kind of let go of her and been like, yeah, wait, because the more I tried to scramble away from it, the worse it was. And so that, even though it was absolutely horrendous, I needed that to teach me to be like, the world's not ending. You're okay.
Yeah.
And you need to let go and you need to surrender. I let that happen. And then straight after that, I got a load of messaging about control. And yeah, it's basically telling me that I was a control freak, but it didn't fully go into it. I could tell that it was like I was just being given snippets. And then I got
Yeah.
more in the next one, which I'll talk about in the next one. But I also had a lot around like, so the main guy kept saying, right, everyone take a sip of water. But every time he said that, he became like a real authority voice that almost frightened me. So I'd jump every time he said it, or like take a deep breath, everyone. And I was like, oh my God, he's telling me to take water. Oh, I haven't done that. I haven't taken a drink of water. So he's probably aiming that at me. And,
Yeah. So you're
and
paranoid.
it was more not like paranoid. It was more that he just became this real authority that I had to like. But then the messaging was, you always do this. You almost give your power out to like authority. It's like, you will know when to drink water. You don't need someone to tell you what to do. So the messaging was very much like, it told me like we're all creators, and I've had a lot more of these messages down the line, but we create your own path, and you don't need to wait for someone to tell you what to do. You don't need to, no one's coming to tell you what to do. You have to create your own path. You don't need to give your power to authority. That was a lot of that. And by which point I've like come down now from the absolute panic, but it still wasn't nice. This was really uncomfortable. So I've been stuck in the loop. The creators don't need to wait for authority. And then it showed me that all the fear I've just had been through was just all about this like lack of control. It was sprinkling in stuff about control. But then it was almost like, well, they said like, well done. You've done well for your first one. I'd basically gone through all of that, all the kind of not good stuff, because being told you don't speak to yourself nicely, it was really sad, but I had some nice stuff. It was all kind of just interesting almost, and like a release, but then it just went into the pure fierce part. But then it was like there's one last lesson, and it like basically told me to lay back. So I lay down and I had my eye mask off. The whole room turned into the most beautiful colours you've ever seen. Like, so this is actually eye mask off, look in my own eyes. And it was like, just look how beautiful life is. And I just kind of got all these like snapshots of nature and animals. And it was just this overwhelming bliss of just like, isn't it so beautiful? And it basically was like, the point of life is to enjoy this, like enjoy it. Like, it's amazing. And really showed me how beautiful everything is. And I can't even tell you that feeling. I was laying there, and then all of a sudden with the music, because all the colours were mixed in with the music, and the facilitator people were dancing, and I was honestly like laughing, crying. My arms started moving to the music. I felt like I wasn't moving them. I was just in absolute bliss, and I like communicated back like, oh, do I need to purge this lesson? And they were like, no, don't worry, we think you've got this one. And it was just this most beautiful moment, and I was like, I've got it. And I was just laying back, I was just like, oh my God. And it was like, at that point I knew I wasn't going back in. I'd done it, learned all these, and it wasn't anything of what I thought it was going to get into, but it was exactly the introduction I needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I just lay there like in absolute like shock and awe of like, what on earth has just happened?
Because throughout it as well, for anyone that doesn't know, they play music, don't they, throughout? So in the one that we do, they do a mix of the sound bar, the gongs. There was that, wasn't there? And then like cues and music that comes out of stereo. So it's a mix of like live sound.
Yeah. And then also the Icaros that he sings as well and drumming and stuff at the beginning.
Yeah. But some of the music is absolutely, well, all of it's good. Like, we listen to it now for pleasure, which...
Oh, God. Yeah.
3 months ago, I would have been like, what on earth is this? But now, if it's got like a windpipe or an acoustic guitar or it's sung in like Portuguese, I'm all over it. I just love it.
Gonna. I know, it's like banger after banger. I'd be like, one more song. Like at the end, it's like mental, because before you wouldn't, but it just hits you in your soul, doesn't it? And also the music from each one reminds you of something that happened, a lesson or whatever you went through, and that has been like energetically released. So then when you come out, I have all these songs that literally choke me up straight away, because I'm like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Life is so beautiful. It's just,
because you played me recently. You said, oh, you're going to love this one. And you put it on. And I was like, yeah, you obviously had to be
guess you had to be there.
Yeah. because it meant something to you,
Yeah,
you've just got a connection with it.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's mad.
so yeah, the music. And what I thought happened is I got the impression when I spoke to you, I thought it was like, if it was like a jolly song or something, then everyone was having a jolly time. And then if it went a bit dark, if the music went a bit moody, we'd all be, but it's nothing like that. None of the music is dark. It's kind of all, it's different. But
But there's
while
something in.
you're
There's
going through
something.
one difficult bit, someone else is having a brilliant time. So you can't, but I thought it was led by the music, but it isn't.
Yeah, but it
It's just
is
the music.
led by the music. But it'll
It is,
be it'll
yeah.
be something in. So there'll be like you'll be going through a good time, and then having this like, oh my god, amazing experience. But then there'll be a note in like the next song, and you think, oh no 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 no
Yeah,
no.
and it's like
So
goes to
you
like a
are
minor.
led, but it's not. Yeah,
Yeah, and someone else is going up onto a good bit, so it's really weird. But I
yeah,
thought we'd all be in this. I thought it'd be like a horrible, creepy song, and then everyone's like there and crying, and but it's not.
yeah.
It just depends on what you're going through, what the yeah, I don't know. Like it's just, and you can go from there, and then you just feel the energy. Something changes, and it's kind of like a scrap. It's almost like it
Oh,
makes me think of like a violin where it goes. Like a horrible horror show, and it's not
and you're
to
trying to
someone
cling
else.
on. You're trying to cling
Yeah,
on. No, no,
you
no,
kind
no,
of
no,
go,
no, no. Back to that lesson. Because
but
you're
the music
almost
is oh,
rewarded when
amazing.
you get it, aren't you? Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Did you have that? Like when you start to realize whatever it
yeah,
is they're trying to teach you, because it's almost like you're being taught and you have to have the realization of, so like with
yeah,
me, you speak so badly about yourself and I'm like talking back, but like, oh no, no, no. And that's the whole thing. You realize throughout life that you are turning away from all this stuff and being like, oh no, I don't do that. Or like, oh, it's not that bad.
mm,
But it's like, this is like, no, no. And it shows you.
yeah.
But when
And you can't
you
escape it.
finally get it all out and you accept it, you're almost, it's just the best feeling, isn't it? Because it's like, oh,
Mm,
that's out of you. But then, yeah,
mm,
then you're into the next thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, how
But
did
yeah,
you feel afterwards? Did you feel like elation, relief? Like, what did you?
absolutely. I was in shock because of the spiritual stuff. I was in shock,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, because like, I know I keep saying it, I'm not religious. I've never been religious. Don't know what I believed in something else. And I was going, what I thought is like, oh, it's definitely going to just work on that. And I thought that's the only issue in my life. And we're going to get into whatever. And that's not what this is at all. It does show you what you need to see.
mm,
But so I was a bit shocked that it didn't. So that's why ceremony 2, I actually went back the following month because I said to my husband and stuff, I was like, I've got to go again because as amazing as it has been, it didn't give me the therapy I was looking for.
mm,
It did in a
yeah,
way with some things, but it was just an introduction. And I just laugh now thinking that everything was going to be fine after one. So yeah, but the main shock was just like, who's this guy chatting to me? Like, who is this? Being told like God is within you, and you hear people saying that. And also
yeah,
like the forgiveness thing, there were certain parts of it that you hear from religion that it's like, oh, okay, hang on a minute, that's explaining something, because it's very, very similar to that. And I don't have that background or have ever really thought about stuff like that. And
mm,
also just being like, oh, that's a human thing, or like,
yeah,
you know, you humans, it's like, why would I, if this is just me talking to me, or this is just my
mm.
subconscious, you can't
You
make me
wouldn't have
believe
said
that
it like
after
that.
experiences I've had. No, you
Yeah,
can't make me
yeah,
think that.
no.
So it's like, is that where we go? Is that just like another plane of consciousness? I don't know. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm,
But that's just, and that I'm still kind of in shock about, and still kind of going down that path now. But
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Did that shock you? That side of it? Did you think, hang on a minute, whoa, this is like over, like,
Well, afterwards,
yeah, have you just
you
not thought,
mean?
hang on a minute, what the hell was that? Because it's just,
Yeah, I mean, I was just in disbelief of the whole thing. And I just remember sitting around and we were all eating cheese. And I was just like,
at the,
hello, is anyone going to like talk about what the hell just happened to me? And I was just so, I was in shock, but I think I was really scared. So it wasn't a good shock. It was almost like, that was horrendous kind of thing. But then after a while, I could look back on it in a different different light. But I just, yeah, for
And it
me, it was
has
just a shock.
changed you.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Like no regrets, no regrets. But I'm a bit of a wimp anyway. So like we've spoken about this. Whereas you had that really awful experience, that part, you'll say, oh, it was awful, but you know, it then got better, and then this. Whereas I'm just still like hanging on to that was awful. You know, I kind of dwell on that, and I'm like, oh god,
Yeah,
like that was, and I can't seem to move past it. So that's our personalities as well. I'm obviously just one of those people that I do things really. I don't know. I can't sort of. I don't want to sound negative or dwell. I couldn't quite move
get
on,
rid of
and
that. You,
yeah. So when we went back to the room, it was just so. I just remember messaging my husband and just being in, yeah, just disbelief. And then over time, I think I was just in shock. I felt almost, do you know what? I felt a little bit traumatized, if I'm honest. That's kind of how I
yeah.
felt. I felt traumatized. I felt like it was just, to me, it was just like, God, that was awful. But it just took a bit of time just to start to calm down, come down. And I think, like I said, that is my personality. So whereas other
Mm-hmm.
people would be like, well, yeah, that was really tough, you know, but I got through it. I'm just like, that was really tough. I forget the bit about I got through it and I was brave and I did it. I kind of just like go dwell on it. So yeah, but it was, the whole thing was just shock. It's something that you just can't,
Shocking.
unless you've done it, you just cannot understand it. So the whole thing is shocking, and I could talk to people about it all day long. I'd love to like hear what people go through, because only someone that's gone through it can actually relate to what you're saying.
Talking about you saying that you hold on to things, in the next one from ceremony 2, I had a really strong teaching that is kind of about that, and I don't know if that's kind of helped me, but we'll get into that for the next one. But I
Mm,
think it could help you in just that mindset thing.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. But yeah,
God, that was quite a long one, but it's
madness.
difficult to make them shorter. Some of them, the first one was a lot, or they were all a lot, but the second one actually
Mm,
wasn't as much.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll figure that out,
yeah,
and hopefully, we'll be able to do the next one as well. It's just that I'm away for a couple of weeks and camping and stuff, but we'll get it sorted.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. No, it's good to hear that again, because I'd forgotten about your first one. Seems like it's so long ago now, and there's been lots of
Yeah, it's
stories
weird because you
since.
kind of like almost like relive it getting into it, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I have actually, I mean, I've just scrawled it down for this, but at home, that beautiful, you bought me a beautiful notebook, and I think I've written down the first 3.
Mm,
I've written down every single lesson, and I
mm,
did at the beginning be like, right, do you know what? I'm going to read through these every day because there's just
yeah,
so much. You just come back into normal life, and that's the whole point, is like the
yeah,
integration. But I now do. The main thing I took from this one was that we are creators. You don't need to wait for anyone to tell you what to do. Create your own life. And I feel like doing this with you is like, I'm starting to walk that path, but also like talking
yep,
about myself badly. I will still like, I do, have a sense of humor and, like to make fun of myself, but in a light-hearted way. But if I catch
yeah,
myself
yeah,
actually talking badly about myself, I catch it now. It's not that it's a
yeah,
lot less, and I catch myself when I do it, and I think, oh, and I think that's kind of
yep,
the whole point of integration, isn't it?
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Right, we better go
Oh, I
because
love
that's been
it.
an hour. Who knows
Oh,
how long that's going to take to download now?
yeah. So number 2, your ceremony number 2 next time, and I can't remember that one either.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Actually, I was writing it down because we thought we were going to get 2 done today, which we're absolutely not. But yeah, that was an interesting one.
yeah, yeah. Fab. Okie
Alrighty,
doke.
bye. I hope you have a nice evening.
You
Bye.
too. Enjoy the rest of your time. Keep me
I
updated.
will. I will.
Bye.
Will do. Bye.